Alright, welcome to Aegis Day at ILW 2951. Today I'm going to try to speed through everything because my last video, which I'm still editing, I realized I ended up ranting on about everything, but it was my first time in the hall and I was just excited to be here. So there was a lot to see, like this guy, who I still say sounds like John Cena if he had a British accent. It's looking especially big from this elevator. Alright, let's take a look at what Aegis has got going on. And here's some favorites with the Javelin already.
Remember, Invictus is an opportunity.
I'd really like to know what you guys think about... Well, that's gotta be a player, right? No NPC would dress like that.
The UEE Navy, united in purpose.
Alright, let's get out of here.
Hello and welcome.
Anyway, what I was gonna say is I would like to know what you guys think about the Javelin and Idris. I noticed you could still pick up some Idrises, even though this is like the last day for Aegis, so just really curious to see what you guys think about that. Alright, here we are for Aegis Day at ILW 2951. In the main hall we can see we're being flanked by some of Aegis's favorites. Okay, so let's get it started with Retaliator. Retaliator is a heavy bomber in Star Citizen. It's a multi-crew ship. It's got 2 turrets on it so it can fend off some fighters. And torpedoes, I mean, this guy can do it all. And it's actually got some decent handling for a ship of its size. I find that these are a little bit tight on the interior. Let's take a quick look while we're talking. But if you're looking for a multi-crew ship that can bring the pain at a somewhat decent price, this one can probably do that. I'm not sure you're going to be able to take down big capital class ships, but you'll definitely be able to give them a bad day. Sometimes the cameras get a little funny in here, and I like to walk around ships when I buy a ship. But you can see this one's bringing some heavy arms. And one thing I like about Aegis, they have a definitely a distinct military look to it. Kind of reminds me of the ships in Aliens that have like, what is it, that colonial marine look and feel to it. So this one definitely a fully crewed ship. Yeah, your drop seats here. And it looks like some barracks. Tight accommodations, but you know, what do you expect for a ship this size, right? Not sure I could live like this, me personally, but I am, if you guys haven't followed me that closely, I am not a big military person. I'm more of a trader and a trade person, but if you're going to live in this verse, you have to know a little bit about the military. And so this is the view from the pilot's chair. So yeah, this is the Retaliator. Definitely a ship capable of bringing the pain and letting your aggression be felt on your enemy. I'm kind of like halfsies on these. I kind of like them, I kind of don't, so it really depends on if you have an application for it, if you want to spend that kind of money. But for me it's kind of a pass, but hey, maybe this is the ship for you. And if you're kind of on the fence like me, I'd probably recommend you get the base version, which in the future is going to have modules so you can kit it out. Probably get it to look more like the bomber at a fairly reasonable price. So that would be my tip. Okay, moving along back here, it looks like we have the Sabre Comet coming up. These are medium fighters with stealth capability. Right now I think they're one of the more popular fighters to have, even though medium fighters are kind of in a strange spot right now. But aside from that, I haven't flown this one too much myself, although I do own one. I do think that they are still one of the better fighters in the game, if that's the kind of gameplay you're into. I'm not sure you have to go with this Comet Edition one. Personally, the paint job doesn't really do it for me. Maybe it does for you. It's got a little bit of a slightly different layout from the standard Comet. I mean, from the standard Sabre. We'll go check that one out over here. But I think a base Sabre is good enough for getting the job done. And I'm kind of okay with the price point, I think, for what it is. See, to me it looks better without the Comet skin. I don't know, what do you guys think? It's like, why would you do that with the Comet? I don't know. And I don't think the loadout, which is I guess more designed for dogfighting, is worth it. Anyway, I would think about it. It's not too bad at, I think, 170. And she's taking a selfie. Hey, I could hold your Moby glass for you. Anyway. Where were we? Alright, let's move along to the big boy here, which is the Hammerhead. Hammerhead has 6 huge turrets. We're talking about huge. Definitely designed for bringing more of the pain, as long as you have a multi-crew to go along with it. I used to own one of these, and I didn't get a lot of use out of it because I just don't have a lot of friends. If you want to be my friend, let me know. Send me a message or something. Or tell me about a good organization that there might be to join. But for me, I didn't get much use out of it just because it was not... it's not a good ship if you want to solo. The pilot basically has no guns that they can control, so you definitely need to have, I would say, at least 2 to 3 people to really take advantage of the might of this ship. And there's a lot of might there. Anyway, you can see this one has the docking collar open above it. Looks like somebody left that open, but you can see that that's where it docks with stations. And this is one of the few ships with the 890 jump that can do that right now. So definitely something worth taking a look at right now if you want. I'm not really a big fan of what they did as far as the cockpit. Let's go take a look at the cockpit again. Because it's under the ship like this, your visibility is kind of limited. Probably would be better suited towards a bomber than a Corvette, in my opinion. But that's me, and you do get used to it once you're flying around with it. I don't know why they couldn't have put it at the top if they wanted to retain that Hammerhead look, but I'm sure the designers know more than I do. Alright, so I think my server's wigging out a little bit, but this is a fully decked out ship. You got captain's quarters in here, barracks, pretty much everything you can think of, complete with an NPC who's lost. There is a cargo ramp thing here, so you should be able to load a ground vehicle in here. So that's the great thing about ILW. You get to walk around and really explore things. And look at that engine. That looks dangerous. But I'll go and show you guys the cockpit so you can see what I'm talking about as far as the visibility goes. I feel so bad for this NPC. He's like so lost in here. And we're going to leave him in here. Anyway, looking at this ship again, you know, right now the lights are off because we're in a convention center, but if you have this out in the daylight, what have you, it looks really good. Now, that was one of the things that really got me about it. I love aliens, so the fact that Aegis has this look to it and feel to it, I really enjoyed. Especially if you ever look at the Reclaimer, that one really makes you feel like you're in an Aliens movie. Alright, so here you can kind of see what I'm talking about as far as the visibility. It's kind of, you know, downward facing. But if you can get over that, not a big deal. And besides, you're going to have other crewmen in the turrets and stuff like that, so they should be able to help you out, just in case there's something you can't see. Most of us fly from third perspective anyway. But anyway, this is the Hammerhead. It's a lot of ship for a lot of money. The only advice I would give you is, like, for me, I bought one of these, but I ended up melting it and getting a Polaris, which I think will fit my gameplay style better. For this one, you know, because like I said, I don't have that many friends, maybe only 2 or 3, and maybe only 2 or 1 on at a time that I'll play with, so we didn't get much use out of this guy. So that's something to consider. I know a lot of people make decisions based on their organizations and whatnot, so I would just say think hard about it if you're thinking about getting a Hammerhead, because it is a lot of ship for a lot of money. Alright, moving along, let's talk about Redeemer. a ship that I've been waiting to see for years, because I remember the contest that this ship won to get into the verse. It's actually a pretty cool story about how fans created their own ship and won a, I believe it was called the Next Ship Contest, and you know, it was obviously one of the better designs. I personally liked it. I know some people don't, so some people like it, some people hate it, but hey, I'm a big fan, and I'm a big fan of what they've done with it. So to see it live and see how big it is really great for me. Some of the knocks were that, you know, it didn't really fit Aegis, the type of ship that it is, but I think looking at it, they did a great job of incorporating the Aegis design language into the design of the ship. It's very evident in the type of cockpit that they chose, I believe. Now, we can't get inside this ship because it's not completed. Technically still in concept that they've been working on, but I prefer seeing an actual ship like this with some scale over the holos that we'll talk about later. Another key feature of this is that it's more of a gunship, although it's got some drop seats in it, so it can double as both. And the turrets they look like they're almost the same size as what you'll find in a Hammerhead, so very impressive to me, especially because you only need probably 2 or 3 people on this ship to really take full advantage of it. So again, for me, playing up on the fact that I don't have any friends, I think this is a good ship to have. Definitely a good ship that could probably take on some larger ships. So for a smaller group of players, I think this is one to have on your radar. I know for me, I'm definitely considering a purchase because I don't believe they raised the price from last year. So this may be your last chance to get it at a good deal. And I know the looks aren't for everybody, but I dig it. Especially if they got a shotlet in there. Anyway, moving along. Alright, let's talk about concepts this year for Aegis. Looks like we're going to start out with the Vulcan this year. I don't know if you caught my earlier video on Invictus. The Vulcan is a ship that I think is worth taking a look at, especially for the kind of player that I am, who's not necessarily combat focused, but more into trade and support. This ship is basically a healer of sorts. It's a repair and refuel ship. It's going to be able to deploy drones that do repairs, basically. So it's kind of nice. I'm a little disappointed in the price for it, though, and only because it's not going to be the only ship that's capable of doing this. The Crucible, which I'm pretty sure we'll talk about possibly more on the Anvil Day, is going to be a more capable support ship with hangar bays in it. I believe it has 2 of them for repairs, so that makes this one sort of a lower value one. And at $200, you got to think that it's going to be a pretty obtainable in-game purchase. So for me, it's going to be a pass for now until we know more. Okay, this is an interesting one for me, the Nautilus. The Nautilus is a mine-laying ship, so it's basically filling a niche role that we don't have in game so far. So it's going to be a new level of gameplay. I'm not sure how much fun laying mines is going to be. It sounds like it's going to be localized to one area to me. And this is a pricey ship. I believe it goes for a little over $700. So for me, for gameplay that I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy, it's kind of a pass for me. I'm not sure how you guys feel about it. It looks kind of cool, but again, I mean, after my Hammerhead experience of just buying a ship that was expensive and not really using it, I don't know. This is definitely a pass for me. What do you guys think? Doesn't this guy look like he's giving a tour to these NPCs and they're like so bored right now? Looks like they're on a field trip, right? And he's like, really? No, really, Aegis is cool. I promise. It is. Alright, moving along. Alright, looks like we've got the Gladuis here, the Titans, and the Eclipse bringing up the center. So we got some stuff to talk about in here. Let's start with the Gladuis. Gladuis is usually available for sale, but for events like this, they usually bring out the Valiant, which I believe this is. Yep, Gladuis Valiant. So it's got a different loadout, basically. Also more for dogfighting. What's interesting about these ships is they just did a rework to them, so I believe they added some more panels and stuff that you can interact with and store stuff with outside of the ship. Let's take a look. So that would be like one of them, for example, probably for servicing stuff. Let's see what else they got here. But overall, these are, pretty good light fighters. Again, I'm not much of a combat guy, so this isn't really high on my radar. I thought I heard these were decent at PvP for a little while, but I don't know if that's still true. Not really finding much that I can interact with here. So let's take a look from the pilot seat. Fairly inexpensive fighter, though. I don't necessarily think you can go wrong with purchasing this, but, you can also just buy it in game, so it's up to you. Maybe $90 to whatever the Valiant's cost is no big deal to you. But I think there's some other fighters that I would probably pick over this first. You know me, I'd probably save up a little bit more and go for the Sabre over this, because I think I'd get more use out of the Sabre. But with my fighting style, I tend to need a little bit more defensive capability than offensive. But that's me, and that's Gladuis to me. Alright, let's talk about the Eclipse here in the center. The Eclipse is the stealth bomber of the verse, so to speak. Yeah, it looks like the stealth bomber, and it pretty much does what the stealth bomber does. Which means that basically it's a stealth ship, it's got torpedoes, and, it can basically be silent and deadly to larger ships. And it's got a really cool cockpit. So this is the type of ship that if you're, I don't know, you think you're a tough PvP guy, you can hide out and basically torp somebody without them seeing about it, and then show off about it in local. Not saying that somebody would do that, but this would be the ship to do that if you're that style of player. Let's put it that way. Other than that, though, there's not too many applications for this ship yet. Although I think it's really cool how it opens up, and the cockpit, it looks really slick. Again, this was like one of my guilty pleasure purchases once upon a time, and I ended up melting it for something I could use a little bit more. I think it is a in-game purchase for the most part. But that's not to say if you don't have the money and this is your style of gameplay that you wouldn't enjoy it. But I kind of like ships that have more than one seat. This is kind of like, getting into that Mantis territory where I think you probably would need to do it with friends or have a purpose in mind. But that's kind of my take on it. So, for me, it's kind of a pass. What do you guys think? And that is the Eclipse. Alright, let's talk about the Space Penguins, the Avengers series, which I'm very high on and I always recommend buying right out the gate. I'm just going to say that I think they're a buy, except for this one here, which is the one that has the EMP. Let's see if we can take a look at the EMP. There we go, finally. So there it is. This is the Warlock's EMP, which can basically shut down electronic devices around it, and it's huge. My gosh. Look at this. Can I walk inside this? And is it safe for me to do so? Probably not. Probably won't be having children after this review, but I sacrificed for you guys. Hey, really cool. But again, I wouldn't get this one unless you have a specific application for it, because you're trading out a lot of the things that I'm going to tell you that I really like about the Avengers series, which is why I recommend it. The Space Penguin, as it's affectionately called, kind of resembles a penguin, as you can see, but it's really cool. These are basically Aegis's starter ship, but they're a little bit more expensive than the typical Auroras and Mustangs, but I think they're well worth paying the $20 extra to get. This one here, the Stalker, is the bounty hunting one, so it has cells in the back for your, shall we say, your marks, for your prey, for whoever you're bringing in. Maybe not necessarily to justice, but anyway. Your bounties go in there. And they actually have decent accommodations. So it looks like you can hold 6 bounties, so that's pretty good actually. Especially for a ship this size. And then this is your Titan, which is the one I would recommend any new player get. You know, if you can save up a little more, go for this one, or upgrade your starter to this one. Because the Titan here, and this is the Titan Renegade that we're looking at with the paint job, which is only available during these sales, but you can go with the normal $55 one. I just think this one looks cooler. But is it worth paying the extra for the look? It's kind of debatable. It's kind of up to you. But anyway, this is a generous bay. You can put a small gray cat buggy in here, which is always fun. It has living quarters here. So it's got a bunk for you, which is kind of important for, you know, traveling around the verse and having a place to log out. But the big deal is with that cargo bay, again, like I said, you can carry vehicles, but you can also get into entry-level trading with this guy. Comes with an ejection seat. Not a lot of ships have that. And it's got decent arms because it's Aegis, so these guys can pretty much do everything. You know, you can do your entry-level combat missions, bounty hunting, cargo, you name it. So if there's one ship that you have to buy, there's only one ship on your budget, I would try to get this one because it can springboard you into buying all the other ships that you need to get. And I think that's pretty common advice across the board. And I kind of like that they look like penguins. I don't know, that's me. It's kind of got like homage to the space shuttle to me. Alright, that's the Avengers. Oh gosh, I'm exhausted. Oh wow. Wow. Well, that was a big group. See, they're like an org of people. I need a good org of people. So as a matter of fact, I'm trying to build one. So if you guys are interested in joining, it's called Astro Loco. I have the link in the description. I would love to make some new friends and love to have you guys in videos. So let me know. Alright, we made it to the final room here. The Vanguard room, it looks like. And I recognize these. So here's the Vanguard Sentinel with the distinct blue and gold paint job, which I kind of enjoy. This one I believe is your E-Warfare ship. If I'm correct, let's double check. I don't want to give you guys totally bad information. Air cockpit, an external E-War pod, decoy missiles, and a set of EMP charges. Yeah. So this is the one that's supposed to confuse the heck out of your enemy. And then, you know, all Vanguards have a turret on top, so they're good multi-crew ships. I personally like them. They're, you know, kind of heavy-ish fighters. Definitely the Harbinger is, which is the one that carries torpedoes. Let's go take a look at this one on the inside since it's open. I like multi-crew ships, you know, definitely not being a very good combatant. Something heavy like this is very helpful to have. Oh my gosh, it's got a shallette. I am very big on the shallettes, guys. If I ever get out my RSI day video, I think I talk about the fact that bathrooms are kind of important to me. Because I do think, because they're in the game and there's food in the game, that bathrooms will become important. It's my crazy theory and rant. But anyway, most of these toilets retract. I can't seem to find a button right now. But anyway, that's nice. You got, you know, you got pretty good living quarters here, Aegis style. I mean, as Aegis quarters go, this is pretty good. You got the bunk, a rack to put all your stuff. You have a turret up here for your friend. And then you got the pilot seat over here. So I had a Sentinel. I upgraded it to Harbinger for Xeno Threat event, and I got pretty good use out of it, especially once you kit it out a little bit more. But these are serious fighters. They can take a pounding, and they can deliver one. So the only thing is, I mean, you're going to pay a little bit more of an upscale price for them, and, you know, it's going to lose out on some maneuverability. So you kind of have to weigh that in there. but I don't think you can go wrong with Vanguard. What do you guys think? Alright guys, thanks for taking this quick, rather comical at times look at the Aegis ships with me. I'd love to hear some of your feedback back on what you guys think about the Aegis ships this year, or the convention this year. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you really like what I'm doing here and you want to support it. If you're subscribed and you leave a comment, you'll get a chance to win a Nomad that I'm giving away when I hit 300 subscribers. Please also, if you enjoyed taking a look at this, please like the video. It helps me out a lot. And looking forward to taking another Everyday Starman's look at the next day of events. So thanks for hanging out, and I hope to see you guys next time.